Two Planker Podcast. We have Reagan Wallis. Reagan, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah. And I just wanted to hop straight into recording because you have been a listener from like the very beginning. I have seen you watching my
Yep.
stories since the very beginning. I remember when you followed me. So thank
Yep.
you for being a longtime listener.
Yeah, I've listened to I think every single one.
Oh
I don't
my
think I've
God.
missed one. Yeah,
Yeah.
even like the one you did without skiing. I don't know if it's still up, but it was like some dude from Nepal.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
listened to that one too. I listened to
Yeah.
all.
That was episode 50 with Karma Sherpa.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. He's that's actually good advertising because that's not an episode that's listened to a lot because I obviously it's a lot of skiers that listen. If anybody would like to listen, episode 50 with Karma Sherpa. He's my friend. He's a Sherpa, like literally like the ethnic group, and it's also his last name. And he's a trekking guide in Nepal, and I'm glad you listened to that. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I was intrigued. It was awesome.
Yeah. Um, So welcome, dude. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's so funny. I love talking to people that listen to every episode. Like you are one of a few people that have listened to every episode. My friend Grant has. Obviously, I have. There's a few others that have listened to a lot of them. So it's cool. Like I like what I just. So this is the last we'll talk about this because I could talk
Oh
about
no,
this
go
all
ahead, go
day.
ahead.
What's your favorite episode, if you have one? Favorite guest or maybe favorite type of episode?
I don't know because you've been going for like 3 years now. I don't know. I could take a quick peek, but
Yeah, take a quick peek.
I
I,
think
I know which ones are
I just
people's most
love
favorite because I just based on the numbers I know what's the most popular.
I love just listening to any of the ones that I have like some preconceived notion in their head of what they are acting like or what they seem like. And then I always just end up loving pretty much everyone that talks. And it's like, yeah, see, like whenever you like meet someone, it's like
Yeah.
you love them. And I love seeing that. It's also I love listening to people that I know well. And then I learn something I never knew. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, how did I not know that about you? Or like
Yeah.
you just asked a question I never have.
Yeah.
So
It's
I love
uh
that.
it's really cool. It's a unique experience. Very rarely do you get to talk to someone for like an hour right off the bat and just learn everything
Yep.
about them. And I've always thought that's cool because I've never obviously I'm the host. So like I never get that moment of like listening to someone else interview my friend. But
Hmm.
I'm glad you expressed that because I've always thought that that would be like a really cool experience to be like, damn, like I've known you for years and I didn't know like this one weird thing that happened to you all these years,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun, dude. But today's all about you, not about me. So we're gonna do the let's do the biography, and you sent me some very helpful materials. Not
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I reached out to you. I'm like, yo, if there's anything you want me to watch ahead of time, let me know. And you're like, oh, well, here's actually a 10-year recap from like 2010 to 2020 or 2011, 21, whatever it was. But
Yeah. Something like that.
yeah, so let's start out with that because you had a 10-year recap. So
Yeah.
before we go into the
Well,
content of it, what prompted you making that video?
I was just making YouTube videos at the time because I love watching YouTube and I thought it'd be fun to start making some YouTube videos. So I just started making a bunch of stuff and I'd always had YouTube or I'd always had been making videos for a super long time prior to then. And I just have like hard drives with so much content on them. And I was like, you know what? It's like people were doing like, I don't know, some like maybe some Instagram decade recaps, just very simple. And I'm like, I've got all this like super sick content, or not sick, but to me, it feels good to watch it, or it's like a nice scrapbook almost feeling.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'd compile all my sort of highlights from the past 10 years into one video and made it. And yeah, that's the story behind that.
Yeah.
Just
I
making.
loved watching it because to
Okay.
me it was I really have never seen a video like it before because it had a big home movie vibe to it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
I was like, oh wow, I just watched this guy's like entire childhood.
Exactly.
Like pretty much like I was keeping track of who your friends were, what your
Yep.
hobbies were, how you were into
Yep.
skiing. So I mean, for you, was it like emotional at all making that video?
Yeah, I haven't watched it in probably like a year or two. And then I was like, when you said send me something that is about you. I was like, okay. And I was like scrolling through my YouTube channel, which I haven't posted on in a couple of years. And I saw that and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And then I rewatched it. And yeah, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I love my life.
Yeah, dude, it's
Sort
yeah,
of vibe.
it's great to have those opportunities to just reflect and be like, damn, we've done so much fun stuff, so many
Yeah,
great people.
exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
get very sentimental sometimes like that.
Yeah, because you forget a lot of the stuff you do unless it's like reminded. And yeah.
Yeah. Dude, and I think like everyone this is something I've noticed like when I'm doing like when you go on like a trip with people or like whatever, like everyone wants to take a picture of the scenery or like what the subject of what you guys are doing. But the best thing to look back on is the people. Like I just want to
Yeah.
instead of taking a picture of the stupid view that I who cares about that? I'd rather turn the camera around and take a
Yeah.
picture of the
Like
people that are
embrace
next
the
to you.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, the people, seeing people. Yeah, home movies are great, dude. We got to bring that back. Bring back
Yeah.
home movies.
And yeah, maybe we'll go into this later, but like there was one point where just seeing my style
Mhm.
develop, and I didn't really put it together until watching it like yesterday or 2 days ago whenever I sent it to you. But like seeing my style like during different phases sort of and different tricks I was doing was
Yeah.
interesting to me to see for sure.
Yeah. Well, I took some notes on it. 2016, I noticed a stark change in your style. Like you went from like just regular footy to like the weird like
Yeah.
shit you're on now. So
Yeah.
that was cool. But before we get into all that, tell everyone about where you're from. Dodge Ridge, California. I've never heard
Yeah.
of it in my life until you sent it to me.
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up in Alamo, California, which is sort of near San Francisco. I then my grandparents always had a place near this resort called Dodge Ridge, about an hour away from it. It's north of Yosemite, north of Mammoth, but still like south of Tahoe, so it's sort of in the middle of California. And I started skiing there around 5 years old, then started ski racing at 8 years old there. And yeah, that's where I grew up skiing. That's where like there's one kid named Trenton Powell that was on the race team there, and he sort of got me into park skiing for the first little bit, and that's really where I like first saw park skiing, and yeah, that's where I grew up skiing.
Yeah. Dude, I had never in my life heard of it before. Is it like
Yeah,
is
it's
it super small?
super small.
Yeah,
I mean, I've gone to smaller resorts now,
of
but at the
course.
time, it's probably one of the smallest in California that's still open.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, and in the video you can see you were a racer through and through at first.
Oh
You
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So tell us
yeah.
about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I don't know how I got into racing, but I think my parents just like put me into racing at a young age, and I was super into it, and I loved it. I kept doing it. I also got into the free skiing, but like never really competed into it. I just like would do it whenever I'm not ski racing, but I love doing both. And
Yeah.
then around 2012, maybe, my father got a job in Colorado, and we moved out to Avon, Colorado, which is right near Vail. And I joined the Vail Ski and Snowboard Academy for ski racing.
Yeah.
And I moved there, ski raced for another 2 years. And well, back to that first year at the ski academy, I I'm thrown in as a ski racer, and there's all these different types. There's like free skiers, snowboarders, mogul skiers, Nordic skiers. I just remember thinking the free skiers and snowboarders were like so much cooler than me because I mean they were just doing way cooler stuff. But I mean now I think both are equally as cool, ski racing and free skiing. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember one of the free skiers, Max Pierce, came up to me and was like, dude, because he knew I had a little bit of interest in free skiing, but like I wasn't competing in it or anything yet. He's like, dude, you got to watch Sunny, the 8-6, and the Grand Bazaar. And like I was just a little fifth grader Reagan ski racer, and I went home and bought all those movies on iTunes and watched them right away. And I was like, that completely opened my world to free skiing. Like I had never seen any sort of video like that, like cool music, like cool outfits. Like all I'd watched prior was like Warren Miller,
Yeah.
which like is way different. And that's when I got into park skiing, like way more so. And the next year after that, I ski raced for my final season, but also competed in park and pipe on my own. And at the end of that season, I did about equally as good in ski racing as I did in slope style. And then I switched to the next season to fully competing in slope style.
Sick, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought that ski racing was cool or like any like thing. I was of the opinion for a long time like, oh, of course the park is the coolest place to be. But then in February, I worked the Mogul Freestyle Championships at Deer Valley.
Yep. Yep.
For anyone that doesn't know, this event is insane. This is like it's like the
Yes.
World Cup of mogul competitions. Like
Yes.
the course is literally lit up by like rose gold lighting. It's just this beautiful strip, and yeah, moguls is cool. And also, there's a ton of money in that side of skiing. Like the
Oh
whole
yeah.
event sponsored by Rolex. Everyone there is beautiful and rich, and all the athletes are in like amazing shape. And yeah, we're not the cool kids. Those guys are going like way farther than anyone
Mhm.
park skiing.
Well,
Like they're
yeah.
getting paid, dude. They're getting paid, and they're like world famous athletes.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go Deer Valley because that course looks so insane for mogul skiing. But then,
Yeah,
yeah, then you got ski racers that are like making so much more just because those
ah,
events are insane. How many people they bring into like a World Cup half pipe event, which is maybe 30 people at the bottom most of the time.
yeah.
These race events have like tens of thousands of people at the bottom in Europe. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
dude, it's just it's literally a different world that we're
Oh yeah.
not a part of at all. Like that
Yeah.
technically it's the same sport, that's a different sport though.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So but that's cool. You made the jump over. We're happy you did, of course.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so I was looking at the video. I did notice that you happen to spend a lot of time in Colorado, but the other thing I noticed too is that there are a lot of X-rays in that video. Were you getting hurt like all the time growing up, specifically in your collarbone area?
Yes, I've broken my left collarbone 4 times, my right collarbone once, and then I've broke my leg, my ribs, my wrists, my hand. Just a lot of, yeah, that's probably it, maybe. Probably some more, but yeah, I was getting hurt pretty consistently, like once a year for a bit. It was not fun.
Yeah.
But I good things always came out of those injuries. Like I always like either got into a new hobby or like started working on like editing videos differently or just I was always able to stay entertained even when I was not skiing, which I was super grateful for. I was never like I was bummed because I couldn't ski, but I was always like partially like, okay, this is like time to do something other than skiing and I have an excuse to like do it.
Yeah. That's really cool. There was a kid growing up like that. My friends that know this kid will laugh that I'm bringing up. But Ross Lackey always had a broken wrist growing up, and it's like,
Yep.
dude, are your bones made of glass? Like, what the
Yeah.
hell is
Yeah.
wrong with
Yeah.
you?
I was a kid always in a sling pretty much.
Yeah, but that's good that I feel like you have. I mean, you could totally see it in the content you make now that you have like a busy mind that you like to direct in different places. Which I think that's super healthy and awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also noticed that you were big on the rollerblading growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I moved to Colorado, I started going to the skate park. I always like biked, scootered, skateboard, just like everything. And then some friends like started getting bought a pair of rollerblades from the thrift store. This kid Rory Swim. And then pretty much we were just going to the skate park every day doing something. And then yeah, had a solid crew at the Edwards skate park for a bit, just all rollerblading. And like I don't know if you know Dima Makrushin.
I don't believe so. No.
He was a Russian skier who recently passed away, but he like posted the sickest like rollerblading edits that had like so much ski style to them. And I just love we all loved watching those, and that's like what got us super into rollerblading for sure.
Yeah.
And then like wizard skating like got me super into rollerblading later on, if you know them.
No, I don't. I'm
Or not
so
not
out of the world of
mushroom
rollerblading.
blading. Mushroom blading. Sorry,
Mushroom blading.
mushroom
Okay.
blading.
Yeah.
They're like the bunch of rollerblading.
The only thing I truly know for sure about rollerblading is that one joke, and you know the joke about rollerblading, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes, but yeah,
The one joke about rollerblading, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, but the joke is, what's the hardest part about rollerblading?
yeah, telling your parents you're gay or something like that.
Yes, that is the answer to that question, which is what I always heard growing up as skate parks and reading on YouTube comments. But I actually think Bill Burr has a great joke about that joke. But regardless, regardless, in that video, your friend, I think you ask your friend who's a skateboarder, like, why don't you rollerblade? And he goes, because it's easy. Do you feel like that's true? Like it's way easier than skating?
I think I think if you're taking the sport to the top, it's like equally as hard. I think
Uh-huh.
that's the case with every sport. But I think like skateboarding has such a learning curve. I feel like just to like, well, maybe for me it was easier to rollerblade just because I ski. So,
Mhm.
but also like if you want to jump on rollerblades, you know how to jump on ground, so it's easy. But like skateboarding, you got to learn like a whole new like set of body mechanics sort of to make a skateboard jump. So like starting off, I think yeah, rollerblading is probably easier, but once you get technical into both sides, I think they're equally as difficult, let's say.
Yeah. I've never thrown on blades, but it's sick, dude. Sam Zander posts some sick clips of him
Oh yeah, he
rollerblading.
does for sure.
Yeah, he makes it look cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, what I do want to ask you, because like I personally think like if I had to define your skiing, I would say that you are a more stylish Andy Parry, and I don't say that lightly. Like I think that your tricks are just as complex, but I think they look better. I don't know if that's because
Thank you.
I don't know if that's because you're shorter than him, or what. But he's pretty lanky. You know.
Yeah, he's taller than me.
Yeah, but I think that I think you guys have very similar styles. I think you execute it very well. So when did you decide like, okay, all the normal tricks, I'm mostly done with that. I'm gonna start doing these like really weird one-footed like
Yeah.
like all these weird rotations.
I don't know. I definitely remember like around middle school, like starting to watch Line Traveling Circus and Real Skeefy.
Yep.
And I was just so stoked on those because it was like new and you've never seen it before. And like I think just making anything that's like you've never seen it before always interested me. So that's around that time I just started getting into that type of skiing. And I think it's just because you don't see it anywhere. And it's always fun to think of something no one's seen or anything like that.
Yeah. I which I that's I don't think a lot of people think that way though. Like a lot of people like to do go through the checklist and this, that, and the other thing. So that's like,
Well, I for
have you
sure
always
go through
thought that
the
way?
checklist. Like maybe not on jumps, maybe, but on rails, like I literally would go to the resort with a checklist, like either paper or on my phone, and literally just like that day I'd go and do like every single stock trick.
Hmm.
But you don't really see that. I don't really post that because you can go on anyone's Instagram and see that per se. So
Yeah.
I don't really want to like waste people's time unless it's new or interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Did you like so I mean the checklist just thinking about it from
Yeah.
the checklist
Yeah.
perspective, like did you watch Andy's videos and like Traveling Circus? You're like, okay, I'm gonna do like that trick at like 3 minutes and 20 seconds, whatever the hell
Oh,
that's called.
I get with the checklist, those are more for like stock tricks
Like all
originally. Like,
16 two
yeah,
on.
I have like spreadsheets or stuff on my phone of just like all 16 and I'd like print it out on paper and then like with little check boxes and bring it to the resort and then like go through the day and just like cross them off as I'm doing them or like
Yeah.
all the twos on or like different 50-50 variations or
Yeah.
anything like that. But now when I watch ski content, I have a whole folder on my phone with just like every trick I want to do or I think might be possible. And that's all like, yeah, like watching Andy Perry's something and I'll write down the time code exactly like you're saying.
Yeah.
And I have that like written on my phone. Or there's a lot of stuff like that on my phone, just like this movie, this minute, or it could be a skateboard movie or like a snowboard movie, like anything that gives me inspiration really.
Yeah. Damn, dude, that's awesome, bro. That's like so. What's it like when you're riding with Andy and Will? Are you just like? I feel like you could probably hold your own at this point with those two now.
I mean, Andy has so many tricks that you've never heard of or like never seen, even in like TC maybe, or he doesn't even do them because he did them so long ago, and then he like doesn't think they're cool anymore.
Yeah.
And then Will be like, "Yo, you should do this," and then Andy does it, and it's like, dude, that was the coolest thing ever. Why didn't you do that? Like, we were at a street spot this year and that happened because like he's like, oh, this trick's not cool. And then he accidentally does like the craziest trick ever. And he's like, oh, it's not a cool trick. I'm like, dude, that was insane. So like Andy's got so many tricks that like I can't do or haven't done yet. And then Will is there's no holding up with him. He can literally do anything you can imagine,
Yeah,
like on command, pretty much.
that's insane. Yeah, I can't think of a clip of Will falling, honestly, now that I think about it.
Yeah, yeah. He he's insane. I
Yeah.
mean, skiing with him is like in my opinion, he's like gotten so he can do every trick like he's ever wanted, I feel like. So now when you're skiing with him, he's like redoing basic tricks, but in like the most complex way, like with a nose tap on or like a one-footed variation of like simple tricks. And now like when I see him ski, he's like relearning all the beginning tricks, but like in the most complicated way. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I got to master every single basic trick before I can even get to where he's at.
Yeah. Damn, dude. That's cool that you get to see that firsthand.
Yeah.
So, how did you get involved with line? Because obviously that's when I started noticing you and like you became a figure in the line universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my old coaches, Dave Zweig, always like was sort of in touch with the line somehow, some way. He was always like skiing online skis. And then eventually he put me in touch with a local rep. I got in touch with that local rep. He gave me some like pro form codes to buy some skis. I bought some skis that year, and that was like the first year I was like skiing online skis. And I also did Big Mountain for the first time ever that year. And I only did Big Mountain competing for 1 year. But at those Big Mountain comps, I got noticed by another coach who was like a line regional rep sort of thing at that time, like team rep named Johnny Rossman. And he was like super hyped on my Big Mountain skiing because it was way different than like most other big mountain skiers just doing like normal big mountain lines. It was more like a Reagan touch on a big mountain skiing. And he was hyped on that. And then he like got me free skis that next year. And then that's how I originally got on. Yeah.
That's sick. When did you get like brought into the fold for I
Yeah, I
mean,
guess.
getting float
But
product is
then it
one
was
thing, but then
probably
like
a year.
getting filmed is another.
Yeah. So I guess it was probably a year of like getting skis through Johnny Rossman. Then after that year, I got put in touch with Connor Clayton.
Yeah.
And then from then, I think yeah, I was getting skis. And then one summer, I asked Connor if I could join for the Woodward week at Line, which was like always a dream, like going to Woodward as
Yeah.
a camper to like be there for Line week. And he's like, I'm not really in charge of that, but Will is. So then he put me in contact with Will. And that's when I first met Will at Woodward Summer Camp. And then that's sort of when things started to take off with more filming with Line and everything. And that was about 2 summers ago, 3 summers ago.
Yeah. How good is Connor Clayton at skiing?
He's ridiculous at rails.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he is ridiculous at rails.
It's insane. It
Yeah.
it is it is insane.
And
And
you grew up skiing with them, right?
yeah, he was like one of the older kids at the mountain when I was growing up.
Okay, okay.
But Jake had the funny joke. I think he said it on the podcast, or he's told me it before in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah. It was yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said like if you want to be on the team, you have to beat Connor in a game of slush.
Yep, yep. I I haven't played Connor Game of Slush yet, but
Yeah,
he probably could beat me.
yeah, it's mental.
Yeah.
So you go to the line skis week. Great
Yep.
experience. When did
Oh
you
yeah.
start filming with like Traveling Circus? And did you go to the Tell a Friend tours? I feel like I've seen footage of that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
after that Woodward week, I think I had plans previously before going to that week. I wanted to go to Mount Hood. I like I wanted to do because I'd gone there previous for like camps and stuff, but I wanted to I was like I saved up, I just bought the summer pass and I was just gonna like live out there and maximize the summer pass. So I went out there with my wagon and then just slept in my wagon and just camped there all summer. And then that summer, I think there was a line traveling circus filmed at Hood. So that was my first traveling circus. And we filmed that. So that was the first one. And then the next, and that's, I met like, so I guess, yeah, before the line traveling circus week there, I was with Will and he's like, yo, come on down to Andy's house. And I had never met Andy and I was like sort of nervous. And then like I show up to Andy's house and it's like not even well, it's KP's house. I don't know if you've been there.
I haven't been there, but I know that KP rents it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, KP rents it from Andy. But Andy was like just building it at the time and it was like it was literally just walls. And like Will and I are sleeping in this house and it's just walls and like no insulation really, like nothing. And it's just yeah, it's just like it's basically just a shed and like I'm staying in Andy's shed basically and then he like walks in and I'm like oh well this is Andy Parry and I like met him and then that's when I first met Andy and then eventually after that week he eventually asked me to help him with traveling circuit or not traveling circus tell a friend tour.
Yeah.
So that next year I went on tell a friend tour and did all those stops and then this past season I more so instead of skiing and tell a friend tour, I filmed, edited, and like ran all the social media for tell a friend tour.
Cool. So, growing up as a fan of Traveling Circus, then when you're finally in it, how crazy was that, dude?
Yeah, that was a lifelong goal for sure. Or not lifelong, but as long as I've known traveling circus goal. And I was super stoked. I mean, in the moment, it's just like you're just hanging out with everyone filming. But then once you like months later, once you hear the intro song, and then once you see yourself in it, it's like that was special for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we were such dorks. We would literally like walk around Mount Hood and like just whenever we were just doing some dumb
Yeah.
shit. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up in time. But whenever we were just doing something, we would just walk around and let the music play. Oh man, I wonder if I have it. Yeah, I had really easy access. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the elevator
Dude, there's
music.
just something. There's just something about this song
Yep.
that fits any situation, dude. You could be doing anything, and you're like, oh, this could be in an episode.
Yes, exactly.
So no, that's really cool. I'm happy for you that you got to like be in it and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
be a
And then
part of it.
also being with Will, like the past two seasons, like not just being in a traveling circus, but like rewatching traveling circuses, like with his like director's commentary, if you will, is
Yeah,
like that's so much fun to like just listen to him talk about everything as like the person that makes these and helps make these.
dude.
Those
Like
are
oh,
that.
just like sitting around watching it with him.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm
dude.
trying to make it through all every episode, but not there yet.
Yeah. I yeah, I would love to hear some director's commentary from all those guys. Dude, it's just 15 years of stories. It's really
Oh
cool.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So sick. Um all right. So you mentioned that you have a van. And
Yes.
when I hit up Dubé, I was like, tell me a little bit about Reagan. He was like, ask him about the van, and then there's a follow up. You had someone living in your van with you for a little while, did you not?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So
I,
we'll
I
let
had
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you tell him who was living with you for a little while.
Yeah, we had Dasha Gangsta Russia living in my van with me. I literally just bought it and we both wanted to go to Hood last summer. And I was like, yeah, I'll pick you up in Salt Lake and then we'll see what goes from there, basically. And I like built out the van like super like rugged at the time, like just like simple build. and we lived in the van for like 2 or 3 weeks together through skiing and like surfing on the coast, and then yeah, line week, and then yeah, just going around Oregon and Utah.
And this was as friends.
Yeah, yeah, this was as friends. We had two separate beds
Okay.
in the van. I was pretty impressed with that setup.
No, that is an impressive setup. Yeah, Dubé told me that. He said he was talking to you at one point, and like her shit's just all over the van, and he's like, "What's going on here?" You're like, "I don't know, man."
Yeah, she's a crazy character. She honestly is like one of the craziest brains I know of. Just like how she thinks of everything and how she skis and how she thinks of skiing is like super crazy. But yeah, with her was like it was basically like yeah, just being thrown with someone from a completely different culture, barely speaks English. Well, when she came to the US like a month or two prior, she spoke no English.
At all.
Like pretty much none at all.
Yeah, yeah, just like
Like
whatever
when
nation
and
or
then
something.
once she was in the van with me, it was like it was good enough English for conversation. And just yeah, learning like Russian things and Russian stories and how she acts and is just yeah, it was super interesting.
Yeah, I yeah, I don't want to give away all the Dasha secrets. Like I want to have her on at some point. But is
Oh
there
yeah.
any little nugget that you got from her about Russia or her life or anything that you were like, damn, like that's gonna stick with me? Is there anything you can think of?
There's probably a lot of like philosophical stuff that's just like makes me think on life a different way. But also just like I guess one thing that's funny that I don't know is true. She's like, we got not an argument, but like someone brought up like the light bulb being invented. And then she's like, no, Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb. The Russians invented the light bulb first. And they're like, there are things like where like our histories collided. And I don't know whose is right, but it's
Yeah,
just interesting to see that like we're all taught different things and I don't know who's right, but
yeah. Who
someone
even
is.
knows?
Yeah.
I actually don't know what to believe because
Yeah. Yeah.
we both have strong incentives for lying about something like that.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. It's all
yeah,
just written stuff in books.
yeah. So do you live in that van full time? I mean, obviously you're in a house while we're recording this for anyone that is
Yeah.
audio only.
So I lived in it for like 3 months last summer. Went back to my parents' house, which is in Colorado Springs, and then sort of started to rebuild it out. Did that until fall of last fall. Lived in it all fall, and then I hopped in the van for uh, Tell a Friend tour and filming for Street this winter. And I
Mhm.
was pretty much on the road out of my van for the whole winter. And now I'm back in my parents' house for a little bit,
Yeah,
and hopefully be back in the van. Yeah.
nice. I'm sure, as you know, I just started living in my van, but
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
but I'm also at a house right now, and this house
Yes.
is also owned by my parents.
Yeah. I'm slowly building it out.
Yeah, yeah. Me like right now. Shout out to David Mackins. He's going to drive my van from Reno to Hood River for me to have somebody else work on it, so I don't need to do it. But
Yeah. That's sick.
yeah, it'll be cool. Um, let's see. So living in the van in the winter, I just want to ask you really quick.
Yep.
Any tips and tricks for living in a vehicle in the middle of winter?
Okay. So my winter story. So my van I got a Dodge ProMaster for $5,000
Mhm.
during like sort of the end of like the car bubble of COVID. Like car
Yeah.
prices have gone down now, but at the time, like all vans like over 200,000 miles were like over 200,000 miles were like over 25, $30,000. They're just ridiculously priced. I
Yeah.
go on this like obscure website, find one for $5,000, but like I find one for $10,000, message the guy, and I say, like, what's the exact price of this? And then he just tells me 5,000. And it was listed for 10,000. I'm like, okay, sounds sick. I bought it and I get it, but it's like it's almost at 200,000 miles, pretty beat. So it's a pretty beat van, but I got for $5,000.
Yeah. It's
This
freaking steal.
winter,
Yeah, go
this
ahead,
winter
keep going.
though, my diesel heater, it's not tapped into my fuel tank, so I ran out of diesel in the middle of the night, and it's like Colorado in December, and that was super, super freezing. But Matt Donahue lasted all winter pretty much without a heater. I don't know how, just with hand warmers
Yeah.
in Colorado. But yeah, so definitely make sure your heater works, unless you want to get a bunch of hand warmers and sleeping bags, like
Yeah.
Matt Donahue did. But that, and then at one point, I had my heater working. It was snowing, so all the snow is melting off the top of my van roof into the crevices of my sliding door.
Yeah.
But then the sliding door is like obviously attached to the outside world and it freezes all that melting snow. So my sliding door is frozen shut. I go out in the middle of the night to go to the restroom at this rest stop and I try to open my sliding door and it's frozen shut and I rip the handle off. So that happened this
Yeah.
year because it completely froze and I was like, I cannot put up with this. So I just like went to bed and it didn't get too cold. And then so I guess just make sure your insulation works, your like seal taping is good. And then also in January this year, I was with Shaggy Eels, who's another skier that also lives in a van, and I open the sliding door or I pull it open and the whole entire door just falls off.
Oh.
Like literally just imagine your whole entire sliding door is like off
Yeah.
on the ground. And it was like 11 at night in Colorado winter.
Yeah.
But thankfully Shaggy was there and he has like a bunch of tools and is super smart and he like helped me like we basically got it back and attached and like bungee strapped back to the van almost. And then I fixed it a couple months later, but
Yeah.
that was an issue.
Dude, yeah, shout out to Matt, dude. He's the real deal. We were just camping for like a month together in Mammoth, and his rig is just like a. I think he said he used to like transport just old people. It's like a short bus, but like not quite a short bus. Um, yeah, dude, no heat. He had no heat all winter.
That's insane.
Yeah, he's
In Colorado too.
Matt is one of like the gnarliest kids I know. He is just about this life. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's so cool. Um, Damn. Yeah. We'll talk in a year and I'll let you know how my first winter in a van goes. It's gonna
Yep,
be
yep.
I'm trying to get ahead of it. Like it's August now. So it's like, all right, like prepare now for winter. It's like we're
Yeah.
freaking like primitive people. That's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
the winter's coming.
Exactly.
We must
Exactly.
prepare. Yeah.
Yeah, just heater, good insulation, snow tires, you're set.
Yeah. The snow tires, I gotta purchase those.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so Dubé also told me a couple other things about you.
Let's
He
hear it.
said, well, first of all, he said let me see. He says a lot of. He really likes you, as a matter of fact.
That's good to
Um,
hear.
he said he told me for you. He wants me to tell you to not join 1,000 skis. That's one of the things he said.
Okay, okay.
But he also said that you went to Norway with. You want to talk about that? Going to Scandinavia?
Oh, yeah, well, I haven't gone yet.
Oh, you haven't gone yet.
So,
Okay, that's what he said. That that is what he said. I wrote it down in a confusing way to me. I have the note as going to Norway instead of
yep,
went
yep,
to
yep,
Norway.
yep.
Yeah, so you're gonna go to Norway. You want to talk about your connection to Scandinavia and all of that?
Yeah, so I'm yeah, me and Patrick Ring and I,
Mhm.
he's line skier and filmer. We're gonna go to Oslo and ski at the indoor place for a month in September. And then I'll be in Sweden for a month. I work with a company called Grow House, which is Lucas Stahl Madison's company. It's like a social media and content creation agency.
Mhm.
And we work together. And yeah, I'm gonna go there for a month in Stockholm and work with them, and then ski for a month in Oslo.
Dude, that's a good plan.
Yeah, yeah,
Have you like in terms of travel related to skiing, have you gone to explore the world or mostly just the US at this point?
yeah. For skiing, I've gone to Canada and Switzerland.
Mhm.
I've been to Switzerland twice, Canada like a handful of times.
Yeah. And was that just for on your own or was that with Line at all?
Um, Last year we went to Canada with Line twice. We went to Toronto once and then Thunder Bay once. And then the rest were for competitions,
Oh, sick.
for half pipe competitions and for big mountain competitions.
Yeah. That's fun. Yeah, dude, I think I mean, if we're talking Andy Parry, no one's had a more well-traveled ski career than
Oh yeah.
like just having your. I mean, you've seen Traveling Circus your whole life, honestly.
Yeah.
Or, but it's like, yeah, 15 years of going all over the world. Like my favorite episodes, looking back, are like those Euro trips with like Max Hill and Cole Drexler, like
Hmm.
the original Europe trips that they
Yeah,
took.
yeah. Yeah,
Those
I think
that's some of my favorite videos.
my favorite episode ever is when they go to the UK and ski. It's called the Great Indoors. And they ski all the indoor places in the UK and I think one place in like Netherlands, I think. And I think that definitely has like something in my mind, like, oh, I want to go to an indoor place
Yeah,
and yeah, relive their dream of when they went to that.
yeah, dude. Honestly, like I think that because I've been watching since I was a kid. The skiing, like the action. If you're looking at it from like a ski edit perspective, the episodes have never been better. Like it's the best skiing. Pretty much every episode that comes out, like it's like, damn, this is the best ski performance. But I just
Yeah.
feel so nostalgic about those old ones. Like the B
Oh
roll
yeah.
in those old ones is like, damn,
It's
it
so good.
it's so damn good, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. Um, but that's cool. That's cool that you're gonna be going to Scandinavia. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And speaking of P Ring, he had a viewer question, so I'll sprinkle this in.
Yeah.
He said, "What's your favorite spot from the upcoming project that he shouldn't talk too in depth about quite yet?"
Yeah, I guess when is this video releasing?
I don't know, probably in September. Yeah, around then.
Okay, so I guess this video probably wouldn't be released, but um the favorite spot I skied on, I guess my favorite shot was on a I'll just say it was on like this pretty big outledge, like over a staircase thing in Wisconsin. And I guess I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil too much, but
Yeah,
that was one of my favorites. Just like there are a couple spots that like Andy did this year that I loved being at because they're not really like when you watch this video, it's like these are not the typical Andy spot. And Andy's like, you're just like, whoa, this is insane. So
yeah,
those are super cool to be at. And Will did some crazy stuff at some just crazy looking spots as well.
yeah,
There was one spot, I think we were in Connecticut, maybe I don't know, some state out east, and it's like the craziest spot ever in person. It's like, yeah, it's yeah. I don't want to say too much. You'll have to
yeah.
watch the movie.
I'm really looking forward to this video, dude. And we had another viewer question about it actually. Fred asked, "Do you have a full part in the new street video?" And he asked, "Is it going to be like parts or a montage or like what's the?" He's trying to get
Yeah,
some
I
insider
believe
info about it.
I haven't seen anything yet. I really want to wait until I don't know. P Ring said I'm just gonna wait till I meet up with P Ring to watch it because they've been editing it all summer, and I haven't been around skiing all summer for the first time in a while. And so it's montages. I'm pretty sure, no parts.
Sick, dude. It's gonna
Yeah,
be. There's a lot of hype around this one. 2 years, dude. I remember like recording with like Egg last year, like around the same time, and he was also talking about the same video that's still not out yet. And he's like, "Dude, this thing's gonna be so sick."
yeah. Well, it was supposed to be 1 year, and then we're like, nah. Then I guess it just turned into a 2 year. So
Yeah, damn. So, what did you do this summer instead of skiing? Because personally, this was the longest season of my life. This was a 10-month season. Like,
yeah, dude, I
the
was
best
impressed.
part of it was like spring and summer, you know?
Yeah. I after skiing street all winter, I skied a little bit in the spring and then basically just chilled and just did like spring activities, you could say. And then I went to Japan for a month, which
Oh,
was super
sick.
sick and just like no skiing at all. I just lived there in one town in Kyoto. And that was like dream come true is to go to Japan and did that and really want to go back. But that's what I've been up to this summer and just got back 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, preparing for my late summer trip, if you will, to Oslo.
Yeah. Damn,
It's not quite, no,
You're
but
fresh out of Japan right now, dude. That's
yeah, a couple weeks.
damn. Were you there alone, or were you there with like friends, or
A friend of mine.
oh,
Uh,
sick.
yeah, just me and a friend.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool. I love this community, dude.
Yeah,
It's full of interesting people. Like you talk to regular old people, And believe me, regular old people are great. There's plenty of regular old people that listen to this podcast that I'm friends with, but they're not somebody you would interview, because like I don't know, the people in this community are great. Like you're going to live in Japan for a month. That's not a
Yeah.
normal thing to do by any
And the
means.
best thing about this community is I hit up a skier that I've always seen on Instagram named Tatsu, who's also on the line team. I had him fly down to me in Kyoto. He lives in Hokkaido, Japan.
Yeah.
And he lived with us for like a week. And just being in Japan with like a local, like just was a complete different experience. Just like someone that spoke fluently and just like knew what was like going to be sick and what wasn't going to be sick, or just taking you around was incredible.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get his contact information from you because I'm
Yeah, yeah.
trying. We're trying to go, dude. We got some
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
to
I'm
do.
trying too. I definitely
Yeah.
want to go.
Cool. All right. Let's see. We talked about the van. We talked about Scandinavia. And the last thing that Jake really said about you, which is kind of, I trust his judgment. He said that he could always count on you to make cool shit. He's like, if we're in a slump, I know that Reagan's got something good for me.
Well, thank you, Jake, for saying that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of different stuff. I mean, your Instagram is sick. That AI thing that you posted the other day.
Yeah.
Describe it for our audio listeners and honestly for our video watchers too, because I'm not going to pull it up right now. But yeah, just describe that video.
Yeah, I guess the inspiration for it was sort of like a scene in like a cartoon or like an anime or a movie where like someone's doing something in action and then it freeze frames and then they like orbit around the person in freeze frame and they go back to the action. That
Yeah.
was sort of the inspiration behind it. So for the listeners, I go off a jump, do a switch rodeo, grab bow and arrow, then I freeze at the bow and arrow grab, and then the camera orbits around me, and then it plays back to the video, and I land and ski away. But the part where it's orbiting around me is just me sitting with the exact same kit on, the exact same skis in my parents' driveway with my father holding the iPhone, walking around me in 360s, just orbiting around me. And then this AI software basically just takes it, maps it, and creates a 3D object in like code for your computer. And then from there, you can program how you want the camera movements to look. And I just basically lined them up with the frame where I froze frame in the video
Yeah.
and did some other stuff to make it all more cohesive.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
when Jake's talking about Reagan's always got some cool shit for me, this is what he's talking about. Like
yeah,
this is taking it to a whole nother level, dude. That video is sick. I mean, you got a lot of videos like that. And I also like you sent me the classic like the businessman video.
yeah, yeah. That was my first. Yeah,
Yeah, you want to talk about that one? I remember seeing that on my own, like not I think not even knowing who you were at the time.
yeah, yeah. That comes up a ton with those people had no clue. That was like one of my first videos to ever like blow up on Instagram or anything. And I had a briefcase at time for school, like a traditional like leather briefcase, and I was just like rocking with that at school every day. And then this kid Larry at my school had a nice looking coat on one day, and I'm like, that looks sick. I have this briefcase. My dad has these pants from like 10 years ago that like sort of look like business pants, but they're snow pants. I don't know why my dad got them, but he did. He loves crazy pants, I guess. And the whole kit just made it look like a business kit. And I was like, I'm gonna make a business edit. And
Yeah.
that's where that business edit came of.
But you also pull up in a GTR, or maybe you just stand
Okay,
next
okay.
to him in the
So
parking lot.
there's a guy in Frisco Summit area that owns that GTR.
Yeah.
And me and my friend Emerson that was filming it that day, we see the GTR in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a perfect start to this video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we walk over the GTR. There's like no cars really near it. And I just like act like as if I got out of it.
Yeah. That's tight. I loved it. I love it. It was a great video, and I remember watching that. And when you sent it to me, because I think you're like, oh, this one's a classic, and it is. It's a classic video. Um, Cool. I feel like we got a good sprinkling of who you are. I do have some viewer questions that I would like to get to. Uh,
Yeah.
First of all, Reagan, do you have a hot take that you would like to share with everyone? Is there
You
something
know,
that really? Go ahead.
after listening for all these episodes, I don't have a hot take. I always like try. I'm like, what would my hot take be? But I'm like, I always like think of a hot take, and then I'm like, well, there's always like a reason where like this isn't really accurate, or like
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think there's too much hate. Like
Yeah.
every time I think of like a hot take, I'm like, no, you're wrong, Reagan. Like they're just skiing how they want to, or
Yeah.
something like that. So no, I don't got one.
Damn. Yeah. And honestly, that's the way that I, in like my personal life, feel. But when I'm on the show, I like to have the hot takes because it's more entertaining to have one as the
Yeah.
host than to just be like agree with everyone. But I respect that. That's a good way to think. It seems like you're very open minded. I mean, I think that translates to creativity a lot of the time. So no hot take from Reagan.
Nope.
Uh, I respect that. Let's see. Let's go random. This is a random question. Ryan Voyton, what is your favorite Pixar movie, Reagan?
Pixar movie?
Yeah,
Cars, easily.
good one.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, Cars. Yeah,
Cars
they're
and best Pixar.
yeah. This is the best one. It's the
Yeah.
best one in terms of concept being like executed. I
Yeah.
love like the universe idea where it's like everything is part of this little universe. Very cool. Um, Ankilla, do you know that Kit Chat is always trying to prank you?
What say that again? Sorry.
He said, "Do you know that Kit Chat is always trying to prank you?"
Oh yeah, yeah. Ever since the beginning, he's always scheming up something on the hill.
Just trying
I
to fuck with you.
going to Copper and I see Ankilla. It's oh boy.
um, all right. Connor asked thoughts on Wisconsin slash Midwest skiing.
Wisconsin / Midwest skiing. I think I don't know. I've had a blast at every single resort we've stopped at Tell a Friend Tour. Like even the ones that you think you're gonna have a bad time at, there's like I always find some feature or some aspect. Like in Wisconsin, they have the Rock, which is like P Ring's home hill,
Mm,
and it's got this run at the very top that has like the smallest little cliff thing and smallest little drop, and it's like so random because you're just on like a garbage pile, like it's a little garbage pile mountain, and then you just like find this little natural booter on a garbage pile. I mean, I love that. I just the easy lappability because you go to a resort like Copper and there's like 50 to 60 rails you could hit in one run. In one run, you could hit like they have, I don't know, hundreds of rails set up, but like you could actually probably hit like 50 rails in one run if you wanted to. And you have no time to think about it's so hard for me to think about a trick to do on every single feature. Like you can't progress like that, I feel like, because you can progress in a different way,
mhm.
but you can't like focus on one trick. And in the Midwest, you have these places with rope toes where you can just dial in a trick and just repeat, 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 repeat.
Yeah, I think rope tow is the best way to ride park for sure. Like it's like it's so immediate. It's way better than it's like it's way faster than the chairlift, and then way better than hiking.
Yeah, you have 10 minutes where you're just waiting, like not doing anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, we used to have this one place in Connecticut. I think it was called Woodbury, and but it's closed now. But it'd be like November you would go, and it was a rope tow, and it was sick because like if you had an idea on a feature, it's just like, all right, well I could lap this like 5 times in the next like 3 minutes, and then just like dial it in, and then move on to the next thing. It's just yeah, it's just a way better use of your time.
And I think like growing up, my parents' backyard, I like always set up a bunch of PVC rails. And that definitely like helped with the creativity thing because I was just like I could build whatever I want. And that's yeah, what's cool about the Midwest other resorts too is like you can sort of like create your own park sometimes, like with just the features lying around.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so fun. Now I'm looking forward to skiing again. And then all of a sudden it's September and there's gonna be some early season shit somewhere else. It's just yeah, crazy season. Um, all right, Raf Diaz.
That's
Great guy, very creative. He said, big fan of the creative tricks. How do you come up with those, and how do you make them work?
I mean, I come up with them just by watching. I don't know. Some stuff just pop. I mean, probably half maybe pops into my head. Half of it's just stolen. Another half, even though that's not 100%, whatever, is like
150%, yeah.
if you watch every single, like, if you watch everything from like 2000 to like 2010 or something, so many tricks were done that people just like have forgotten about or thought weren't cool anymore that haven't been done. So a lot of times I just like see that and then I'm like, I can just do that now. And then people will be like, oh my God, he's so creative. But I literally just watched a video of like Andreas Hotbite or like someone else like super long time ago doing something and I'm just doing it again and people don't realize that. Or yeah, just taking inspiration from other sports and then just thinking of how I can do it a little differently, watching something and just doing it a little differently and skiing. That's pretty much how. And then what was the other part of the question?
And how do you make them work?
I guess like the one thing I think I've done that I'm not because Will claims no one else has done it. That's the only one I'm claiming no one else has done because he is ski logic god, ski information god. Is the like half swap I call it.
Yeah, that
Um,
one's crazy.
that one I just like started doing it on a box when I was bored one day, and then like I started doing it a little better on the box, and then Toph and I were up on Hood in the evening, and we had like this perfect like flat tube set up, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it because yeah, why not? And I slowly just sort of worked into it. And most of the time, it's like just like committing 100% to it. It works out perfectly, not perfectly fine, but like it's gonna work so much better than like trying to like play into it,
Mhm.
like slowly try to get into it. And that's what happened on that one. Like I kept trying to like ease into it, and Toph's like, dude, just do it. You got it. And then like once I did it, it was like, oh, this is way more mellow than I thought it would be.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that trick. Anything like caribou style, where you're basically like, both like one ski's forward, one ski's backwards, that kind of style of riding, scares the shit out of me, dude. Like watching those tricks, it's just like, damn, dude, like your
Yeah.
knees, how
I
like
mean,
not
that,
your knees, really, your groin, dude.
yeah, that, like, I'm super unflexible, sadly. I mean, I keep
Yeah,
trying to flex, but I'm not good at flexibility, but like, I cannot do caribou on snow really at all.
yeah, yeah. Just
I
on
think
rails.
that trick also, for example, is basically just like I don't remember the name in rollerblading, but it's either like a savannah maybe on rollerblades or like a tabernacle. I forget. And that's basically what the trick is on rollerblades, but they normally do it with just like hopping straight into it. But on my phone, like on the list of tricks, I have like doing a back swap, but you keep one foot on the rail. That's what I had written down. And that was probably on my phone for like 4 or 5 years before last summer when I did it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a mental clip. I love that. Yeah, that was a really good one. Um, all right, next question. A lot of people, we had Big Air Aaron also asked something similar. He said, "Where do you look for inspiration in your trick selection?" And so when you're pulling from other sports, you're just pulling from rollerblading, or do you ever get inspiration from snowboarding?
Rollerblading, skateboarding, surfing,
Yeah.
or just like watching a basic TV show or movie and you see a spot in the background and you're like, oh, that would be perfect for like this type of trick, or just, or like, I don't know, literally any sport, really. Like soccer, you can see them doing a juggle maneuver or something. You're like, oh, you could sort of put yourself on skis and do that.
Yeah,
I don't know, anything.
that's so sick. Um, all right, Sizzla, another Colorado guy. Favorite street part of all time?
My favorite street part of all time would probably be my favorite movie of all time with both street parts is Interpretation by The Bunch. And Magnus's street part in that, and LSM's street part, and Hackle, and yeah, and the opening segment in that is like my favorite. I'd say probably his favorite street part is Magnus in Interpretation, and then like favorite part is the opening segment to that movie. It's like this long, like sliding frames of like all these streets shots, nature shots, just all these things. Everything in that movie is my favorite.
Yeah. Damn. Sick. Scott Belkman, what is your bucket list trick?
Bucket list. I don't know. I got a lot on my phone. I could look it up if you
Yeah,
want me.
let's see the list, dude. Let's hear it.
I'll say like one that I hope no one else would do, or I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'll just like fakey baby crusher 270 on is a thing in here. Um, a lot of these are written in like such gibberish that like
It's
I can't even understand anymore because like it doesn't make sense writing it down really in the first place. Like you have to see it. And
yeah.
then I come back to these, I'm like, what
Yeah,
is that?
give us a gibberish one.
Um, come and switch left foot, turn to sideways shuffle slide, then like fakey ollie revert back to switch. I don't really, I'd have to like think about what that means, but I can't think of what it means right off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like here, I have like inverted wall ride stall like Reed Smith did in the Dust Box movie. He's a snowboarder. So that's like a snowboard.
Yep.
Or like an interpretation, I have Magnus's like Wally tails through the lower rail, but like I want to see if you could do that switch or something.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's just a lot of yeah. Or here's one like find a Ninja Warrior type obstacle course with like the like the things that Ninja Warrior that like always
Yeah,
at the beginning, like I don't know, something like that. I don't know if it would work, but
that left right thing. Yeah. Damn.
I guess Andy's already done that. So I didn't know that though until last year. That's an old one I should probably cross off because it's been done.
Andy's did it. Andy did it. That's like the South Park joke. It's like, oh, Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
Yeah, most tricks that are on this list have probably been done by Andy like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Yeah. Wow. Well, is there anything we can look forward to? Any apart from that? Any other bucket list stuff? Would you like to do like a Reagan only project at some point? Would you like to have your own event? What would you? What's still left to be done for you?
I think just keep creating like creative videos. That's
Mhm.
definitely there's like I mean obviously like all that stuff, and then I have like other folders that are more like filming based, like filming side of things that aren't really trick based that haven't been done in the sport. I mean we have the new movie coming out with Line that you could look forward to. I mean I'll be filming street more, that's for sure. Those are my plans.
Yeah. Sick, dude. I think and what before I let you go, you seem like the trick side you seem like Andy, but like the creative side it's like the Rob Hewley, Sammy Ortlieb side. Like did you draw a lot of inspiration from them for the creative side cuz their videos are just dude, you see the things they come up with and it's like how on earth did you guys like think of that?
Oh, with
Yeah.
the video side,
Yeah.
for sure, the Bunch guys. I like love watching their content's my favorite ever, and they are so creative on the camera scenes, like on the camera, like the Wes Anderson segment from like Is There Time for Matching Socks, like
Yeah.
is like such a sick inspiration. But Real Skeefy always has like super creative videos that are like videoed very creatively. Um, I'd say those things are sort of my creative inspirations.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So we got a little bit of the biography, we got the inspirations, we got some good anecdotes. Is there any wisdom you want to drop on everyone before you leave? Anything that you're like, I want the people to know this, like an insight you've had getting into the ski world, like just any nugget.
Um, just like ski the way you want to, and it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks, and just yeah, keep skiing the way you want to. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I that is a beautiful way to end this. Where can everyone see your stuff?
Yeah, Reagan Wallis on Instagram. That's the main source. From there, I'm sure if I posted anything anywhere else, there'd be a link from that account.
Yeah, Cool. All right. Well, Reagan, thank you for being on, dude. After many years of you listening, me seeing you as a secret lurker on the stories, me knowing that you listen, I'm very happy to have you on and have this experience with you. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.